Nobody lean on the table at all. Nobody lean on the table.
Can you make this glass move for us now, please, as a sign that you wish us to leave? Make it go off the table as a sign that you want us to leave, and we will go. Please move the glass. Make it move off the table. Make it fly off the table, and we will go. We will leave you in peace. Please, please move the glass. Nothing. Is everybody all right? Is everybody all right?
Are you all right?
Yeah.
Can I suggest something?
Yeah. I'm going to hand back. I'm going to hand back to David. Unbelievable. Just sorry. Just we're all a little bit freaked out. I don't know how. Are the crew all freaked out? Yeah. I think I can safely say we're all really freaked out here. I don't know how everybody else is feeling.
Thank you very much.
We're going to go check on Derek, make sure he's okay. All right, David?
Thanks very much indeed. David Wells, what do you make of what you're seeing?
It doesn't surprise me.
Why not?
At all.
You went there today, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I like to go around the locations just so that I know what I'm talking about here. And that house, the stuff that Derek was saying is sort of more or less what I got earlier. The door moving, we saw the same door move today.
The same door move when you went around this afternoon?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what about these, you mentioned also that you heard similar things. What did you hear this afternoon?
Well, I heard noises, but I think what was important was the grandmother figure. I didn't get her name, I must confess, but she was at me to leave, and she was trying everything she could, just like Derek, to
Did you
make me
get
leave.
any names that, like the same that Derek came up with?
Not the ones that Derek has.
OK, let me just ask the historians, because those names, Elizabeth Device Whittle and Elizabeth Southworth. Richard Jones, who are they?
Well, they were part of the Pendle witches. For example, Elizabeth Device was the mother of Alison Device, and Alison Device was the girl who cursed an itinerant peddler, and she brought the whole Pendle thing to a head. And then you had Elizabeth Southerner. She was also known as Old Demdike, so that was Demdike.
So that would explain why Demdike came up through Derek?
Yes, indeed, yeah. Also, Anne Whittle was Old Chattox. Both of them were blind as well. I do recall at one stage Derek was saying he couldn't see.
But it was interesting, wasn't it, when he said Demdike, and then Yvette pressed him and said, "What is your name?" And then he said Elizabeth.
Yes, yes.
And that would accord with what you know?
It would indeed, yes.
What do you make of this, Richard?
It's amazing. I'll tell you one thing I have just noticed, that when Derek was starting to get possessed and he was going out, he actually, I don't know if we could record it or get it back again, but he said, "My name is not Demdike," and of course that was a nickname. Her name was Elizabeth Southern. And he actually said, "My name is Elizabeth," and I'm sure he said Southern, which seemed to annoy the old gal, to say the least. It would be very interesting to see. But I mean, that business of the glass, again, I mean, that is genuine. That really, really works, you know. It's a very, very active house, because it was a form of mortuary as well, so...
And also, you know, I know the team very, very well, and those were real screams of horror.
Oh, good Lord, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no getting away from it. I mean, you put yourself in that situation, as I am as well sometimes, it's very frightening. And they are genuinely, at this moment, highly charged and quite frightened.
They're highly charged.
Absolutely.
And
so who knows what's going to happen next,
yeah,
to be
who
quite
knows?
honest with you.
So what will happen next on this Halloween night? Find out in a few minutes after this break. Welcome back to Most Haunted Live on this quite amazing night. Now, already it appears that Derek has been possessed twice. Let's have a look.
Please make your presence known. Please make this glass move as a sign of yes, that you are...
My name?
Too soon.
Speak my name!
Too soon.
Elizabeth!
Are you all right?
Elizabeth Southern!
Just grabbed my head. You're joking. John, something's just grabbed Kat's head.
Call it Demdike!
Jeez.
And as you heard Derek said, my name is Elizabeth Southern, which is exactly what Richard Felix said just before the break, being Old Demdike. Extraordinary stuff. But what will happen next? Julian, what can you tell us?
Well, I just want to go back to that psychic art we had earlier, because we mentioned Elizabeth, and actually Elizabeth Southern, and that was the name on it. And look, there's the automatic handwriting there saying Elizabeth Southern. So I just want to show you that from earlier on. That came in before all of this happened on air. Now, lots of messages coming in. Thank you very much for this. Chris from Property Preeth is getting the name Mary over in his mind. A witch named Mary is the one who's trying to move the glass, he says. Several people, including Georgia from Surbiton, reported a shadowy figure of a young child following Yvette and Derek up the stairs. Kirsty from Wellingham said that when Derek collapsed on screen, a freak wind swept through her house and all the lights went out. We get lots of reports like that every time we do Most Haunted Live. And a couple of more. Ryan in Somerset says that when the crew were going up the stairs, he saw an old woman behind Derek and she said, "Be gone, intruders." And Caroline in Newton Abbot said that when Carl was just telling the crew what he saw, there were flashing lights behind him on the left-hand side. So keep all that reaction coming in, please. Now, this vote we're running at the moment, overwhelming response on this. Were they witches guilty of genuine evil, or were they innocent country folk? That's the question we're asking, and the results are looking like this. 80% of you believe they were genuine witches. 20% say no. That is how it's standing at the moment, but it could change as the programme goes on. So to vote, you have to text saying the words haunted space yes if you think they are guilty of actually being witches with genuine powers, or haunted space no if you think they were innocent victims. The number, very important, 83088. Text us on that number. Just a couple of moments on the EVPs. We posted more of those recordings on our website tonight, and a couple of ones recorded last night at the Trinity Centre. So please listen to those and let us know what you think they are and how they might shed some light on the witch's story tonight. More from Interactive later. David, back to you.
Thanks very much indeed, Julian. Well, we're in Lancashire on the edge of our seats and the edge of Pendle Hill. It's possibly one of the most paranormally powerful regions in the country. Now, our investigation team has been guided by you in their search for the witches' Sabbat. That's the final meeting place for the legendary Pendle witches, before many of them were hanged. Now, it's rumoured to be a place of dark and mysterious energies, and you've led us to the Bull Hole Valley, which is near Sabden. Well, it's time to go to Bull Hole Farm itself. So, just before we do, let's get a sense of what's been going on there.
Bull Hole Farm is central to the Lancashire witch trial and was once owned by one of Pendle's own witches, Alice Nutter and family. The ancient barn is said to be the location where Old Demdike bewitched a cow and Chattox put a charm on milk. Could this be the original meeting place of the witches? The stunning stone farmhouse has its own presence too. A spirit lady thought to be a shunned pregnant serving girl keeps a protective and watchful eye over the lady residents, but is said to have a total disregard of men.
Well, I'm joined now by Anne-Marie Gallagher. She's an expert in witches and she is a witch herself. Can you explain the difference between you being a witch and the sort of spirits that we may be encountering tonight?
Witches today are people who celebrate the cycle of the seasons and work with the natural energies of the earth. This type of witchcraft that the Pendle witches were accused of doesn't fall into that category at all.
So you're quite different?
Yes.
Can you shed any light at all onto what's been going on tonight?
It's very interesting. I don't know if I can actually, but if there are very angry spirits about, and I was one of the Pendle witches, I'd be pretty angry too. Their story was pretty horrible, really. And whether they were actually guilty of the witchcraft that they were accused of, I'm not entirely sure. Were they innocent country folk? They were country folk, but I don't know if they were innocent.
And at this sort of Sabbat, what sort of things might have happened there?
The Sabbat, I have to tell you categorically, is a fantasy in the minds of the people who used to accuse others of witchcraft.
How do we know that?
It's very unlikely, given the demography of the area, that Sabbats of that type were actually, you could celebrate them. Very much comes from the continental ideas about witchcraft. So there